Hello everyone, how are you? I hope all of you are doing really good. So welcome to another session of strategic management. So in this session, we are going to talk about our next topic, that is strategic leadership. Another very simple, very interesting topic, I would say. Now, when we use the word leader, who is a leader? The leader is the person who leads the company in a direction that is required for the success of the company, right? Who leads by example, who shows that how the work is to be done, who motivates the employees that this is the way we will be working, and this is how the path that we have to follow. He is the leader who gets the work done in the right direction, ultimately for the purpose of achievement of the organizational goals. He is a leader, right? Now, I can divide the leader category into two parts. One is the manager leader as a manager, or the management leader we can say, right? And there is another one, that is what we call it as a strategic leader, right? The second one is what? The second one is a strategic leader, right? Now, what is the difference between the two? This manager and the strategic leader, what is the difference between the two? Right? This manager or the management leader, he looks after day-to-day activities. He looks after day-to-day activities and processes and people, right? So he is looking after the day-to-day activities. Now, if you talk about the strategic leader, and this is what our topic says, the strategic leadership, right? He looks after the complete strategy process, complete strategic management process, right? Strategic management process. Clear? Now, what is a strategic management process, or what this strategic leader will be doing? So I'm giving you the overview of this topic so that whenever we are reading now, you have an idea that what this topic talks about, and it's important to understand what is the crux of the topic. Now, when we say that this strategic leader is involved in the complete strategic management process, what do I mean by this? Now, this leader will make a vision for a company. The first, he will make a vision for a company, that what is the vision in which where we want to take the company down the line 10 years, 15 years and 20 years, right? In the long term, where we want to take the company, right? So it is make a vision. Now, once he has created a vision, what will be the next step? The next step will be the strategic analysis of the external and internal environment. Right? Now, it is the responsibility of this leader to take the company forward. It is the responsibility of this leader to, take the company to a competitive, advantageous position, right? That how he can take the company, take the company ahead of the competitor. So for that, he will create a vision first, then he will do the strategic analysis of the external and the internal environment, and then he will select the right strategy, right? Then once he has done the selection, he will do what? He will do the implementation of strategy, right? He will be involved in the what? He will be involved in the implementation of strategy, right? Now, during the implementation, he will face a lot of, the things that we have already discussed, that for the implementation of the strategy, the change will be required. We talked about the strategic change, the culture change will be required, the structure changes will be required, right? For the implementation, he will be dealing with all the changes, and then we talked about that whenever there is a word change, there will always be some resistance from the people who are involved in it, because the people love to be in their comfort zone. They do not want the change to happen. So he will be dealing with all employees. He will be motivating all employees. The leader is the one who motivates the all employees so that everyone is working in the right direction. Everyone is contributing to the achievement of the overall strategic goals of the business, right? So he will be motivating the employees. He will be crisis management he will be doing, right? In case the company goes into any crisis, he will be doing the crisis management. Then according to the changes in the business environment, he will have to be always on the toes so that he can make the changes in the various strategies, right? So that is dealing with all the changes that is covered in that. Motivating employees, crisis management he will be doing. So there are lots and lots of roles that this strategic leader will be doing, right? He will always have to be agile. He's always have to be innovative. He needs to come up with the innovative ideas, and definitely the competence level of the strategic leader will be different from the other employees. That is why he is being called a leader, right? Because he will have a different mindset, he will have some different ideas, he will have some different style of working than the others. That is why he is a leader, right? So it is important. He will be doing a lot of things. He is showing a direction to the company, right? The strategic leader, he will show the strategic direction to the company. Strategic direction to the company, that how the strategy is going to work, and how using that strategy, how the company can stay ahead in the competition. So he will be showing the strategic direction to the company. For that, he will prepare a vision, he will do the strategic analysis, he will select the right strategy, implementation of strategy, and then he will have to evaluate the various actions, evaluation of the strategies from time to time. Evaluation of strategies from time to time. He will be doing the evaluation of strategies also, and be ready to make the required changes, right? So in this dynamic world of business environment, where the environment is changing every second, every minute, the strategic leader need those skill set that is required to tackle all those changes, right? So this is what a strategic leadership is about. So I've given you a small crux of it, not the whole topic. Now we are going to start with the topic and read it from the book, right? What is there? So a leader is best when the people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. So he is the leader who involves the whole team into one, right? Gets the things done, but he is not ready for the credit. He says the team has done it, right? He is the best leader. That was given by Lao Tzu. Now, the strategic leadership sets the firm's direction by developing and communicating the vision of the future, formulating the strategies in the light of internal and external environment, that is strategic analysis, brings about the changes required for the implementation of the strategies, and inspire or motivate the staff to contribute to the strategy execution. That is what I told you here. Make a vision, strategic analysis, selection of the right strategy, then implementation of the strategy, and motivating the employees for the right execution of the strategy, right? So this all is important part here. A manager as a strategic leader has to play many roles. Now, what are those roles? He should be a visionary, right? Because he is the one who will be creating a vision for the company, the chief entrepreneur and a strategist, because he is the one who will have to come up with the new ideas, right? That is why he's called an entrepreneur. He will have to make all the strategies. Chief administrator, he will have to administer everything, whether it is the resources, whether it is the manpower, he will have to look after everything. Culture builder, yes, when we talk about the changes, we always say that the culture needs to be built up, right? Resource acquirer and allocator, how the resources for the successful implementation of the strategy and the achievement of the strategic goals, how the various resources of the organization are to be acquired and utilized, right? Capabilities builder, core competency builder, right? That how to build the capabilities of the organization, of the people who are working in the organization, what kind of a training they need. Process integrator, the various processes in the organization, they need to be integrated for the successful implementation. Crisis manager, spokesperson, that means the communication, he is basically the communicator of the ideas to the lower level management right? That is a spokesperson, negotiator in case of any controversies taking place. He's have to be a motivator, arbitrator again in case of any conflict between the top management and the lower management. He will play the role of arbitrator. Let's go for the settlement, sir. Policy maker, policy enforcer, and the head cheerleader. Cheerleader means who will always be cheering the employees less. Yes, we can do it. That is what is the role of the purpose, to keep the employees motivated, keep cheering them, and keep reminding the employees that what direction we are going in for and what are the objectives here, right? So he'll have to play so many roles. Sometimes he have to be authoritarian, right? Sometimes he will have to be strict with the employees that this is my order, you have to do it, right? Sometimes it's better to be perceptive listener and compromising decision maker. Sometimes he will have to listen to the employees, and after listening their problems, he says, okay, let's settle it down, don't worry, right? We will find out a way out, right? So compromising decision maker. Sometimes a strongly participative, and sometimes being a coach and advisor is the proper role, right? Sometimes he will be he will ask all the employees to give their ideas, a participative in nature, and sometimes he will be giving the training, the coaching part, that yes, this is the path that we have to follow, this is the way the things are to be done, right? Advisor, he will advise people. Sometimes there is a difference between being authoritarian. Authoritarian means the strict, advice being polite and giving the advice, right? So a strategic leader is a change agent who is there to bring the changes. The changes are required in the organization according to the strategy being selected, who initiates the strategic changes in the organization and ensure that the changes are successfully implemented, whether it is the digital transformation, whether it is the structural changes, whether it is the cultural changes, whatever the changes are required in the organization, all the changes will be looked after by whom? The strategic leader. Why? Because the why we are doing changes, the changes are being done so that we can implement the strategy, the selected strategy in the right way. So he will have to make sure that the people are motivated for the change, the people are given the right information that why we are going for the change and all those things, okay? For most part, the major change efforts have to be top down and vision driven, right? The change efforts have to be top down means the communication have to be from the top to the lower level, that these are the changes which are required to be done. And why it is being done? Because we have a certain vision that we want to achieve. There are certain goals and objectives that we want to achieve. That is why these changes are required, right? Leading change has to start with diagnosing the situation and then deciding which of the several ways to handle it. So if you want to go for the change, this we have already studied about it, then we have to identify that what are the situations which require the change and how we can deal with those changes, right? So the managers have 5 leadership roles to play in pushing for the good strategy execution. There are 5 roles which are there. They have to fulfill for the successful implementation of the various strategies. Staying on the top of what is happening, closely monitoring on the daily basis that what is happening and how the things are being done, whether it is in the right direction or not, and if there are any issues, try to solve those issues at the earliest, right? Try to remove all the obstacles at the earliest. Promoting a culture of spirit de corps, that means the right spirit and a motivating spirit among all the employees that mobilizes and energizes the organizational member to execute the strategy in a competent fashion and perform at the highest level, to have the high spirits. A spirit de corps means motivating the employees to have high spirits here. It's important to keep the employees in the high spirit so that they feel motivated, they give their best performance in the execution of the strategies, and which is ultimately aimed at achieving all the organizational goals, right? Then keeping the organization responsive to the changing conditions. So he should be always on the toes, keep looking for what are the changes happening in the external environment, and accordingly what are the changes required in the strategy that he has already prepared, right? So that the organization can stay ahead of the competition. exercising the ethical leadership and insisting that the company conducted affairs like a model corporate citizen. That means in the right ethical ways. He should make sure, he should lead by example, that we should not, we are not interested in going ahead of the competition in the by adopting the illegal ways or the wrong ways, right? He should set an example that this is the way that all the functions are to be conducted. Pushing the corrective action, so where there are gaps, he need to take the corrective actions. Where he feels that there is a problem, somewhere there is a problem in the execution of the strategy, he need to correct those actions immediately, right? And the examples are given, just read it. One, N.R. Narayan Murthy and Dhirubhai Ambani, these two were the great leaders. Narayan Murthy ji, he has been a great leader for the Infosys. He has set the tone, he has set the work culture, that how the management is to be done for the Infosys. He was a fantastic one. That is why Infosys is here right now. And Dhirubhai Ambani, what to talk about Dhirubhai Ambani ji, everyone knows about him. He was a brilliant person, mentally so alert in analyzing the situations and taking the actions accordingly. And if you have studied tax, you know, Dhirubhai Ambani was one person who used to, every time the people bring changes in the tax, he used to find the lacuna in that. And that was really the brilliant part of Dhirubhai Ambani, that how he used to manage business. He was a spirited person, always excited, the enthusiastic, and he always used to keep the employees quite filled with enthusiasm. So that is why they are the perfect examples of the leadership. Now, the next is leadership role in implementation. See, it is very important that the strategic leader to make use of the strategic management to fulfill the strategic objective goals, right? So the strategic leader, here he says, the strategic leader must be able to use the strategic management effectively by guiding the company in the ways that result in the formation of strategic intent and a strategic mission. So he should be making the effective use of the strategic management. What do you mean by the effective use of the strategic management? That using the various tools, he should be able to set the strategic mission, strategic intent of the company, right? And then facilitating the development and implementation of the appropriate strategic plans. Using the tools, he should be able to develop, he should be able to implement the various strategic plans, he should be able to select that which strategy is going to work well under the various conditions, and then providing the guidance to the employees for achieving the strategic goals, right? So basically he has to do the strategic management part. And strategic management is what? This is the strategic management, creating the vision, analysis, selecting the right strategy. So for all this is what? All this is nothing but your strategic management only, na sir? All this is what? All this is nothing but strategic management itself, right? So this is what he should be doing. Now, strategic leadership entails the ability to anticipate, envision, maintain flexibility, and empower others to create strategic change as necessitated by the external environment. Now, this is interesting. He says, the strategic leader, whosoever is the strategic leader, he should be having a skill that he should be able to anticipate the external changes quickly. He should be able to identify the changes in the environment quite quickly, and he should be flexible enough to take corrective action, that whatever the change is required, he should be flexible enough to take the changes immediately, so that you do not lose out to the competitor. Before the competitor takes action, you should be able to take the action. He should be proactive, he should be keep on analyzing the environment. That's the strategic leader, right? Because there are a lot of complex things which are going on in the business environment. To deal with them, it is not going to be easy, right? Strategic leadership represents a complex form of leadership in the companies, because he has to look after so many things, and at the same time he should be on the toes to look after for the changes which are taking place in the external environment and make the changes accordingly. A manager with the strategic leadership skill exhibits the ability to guide the company through the new competitive landscape by influencing the behavior, thoughts, and feelings of co-workers. New competitive landscape means through the new changes in the business environment, right? If the competition changes, that is known as a new competitive landscape. Earlier you were at a position 2. Now the competitive situations have changed and you have slipped from 2 to 5. Now he will have to bring about the changes so that you again move from 5 to 2 in that particular industry. For that, the changes will be required in the employee's behavior, in the employee's motivation will be required, the operational procedures need to be changed, so a lot of things will require to be changed, right? Managing through others and successfully processing or making sense of the complex, ambiguous information by successfully dealing with the change and uncertainty. Uncertainty also is there in the business environment, so accordingly he will have to bring about a lot of changes. So he should have that skill set to anticipate that what is expected in the environment and take the action, proactive action ahead of the competitors. And for that, the changes will be required, the behavioral changes will be required, the procedural changes will be required, thought processes need to be changed, the workers need to be managed in the right direction so that all of them feel motivated and work in the right direction, right? So effective strategic leadership shapes the formulation of strategic intent and mission, influences the successful strategic action. Action means the implementation and the formulation of strategies. This is what the action means, right? And then strategic competitiveness, above average returns, right? Above average returns means you stay ahead of the competitors, right? Okay. Now another important point that is coming up, he says, in the today's competitive landscape means in the competitive environment which keeps on changing every time, the strategic leaders are challenged to adapt their frames of reference so that they can deal with the rapid complex changes. Now what is this frames of reference refer to? What is this frames of reference? Now just imagine a situation, sir, when you enter the CA course, what will happen? You come with a frame mind, you come with a, the mindset. You enter the course with a mindset that this is one of the toughest courses. These are the exams that we will have to clear: CA Foundation, then CA Intermediate, then CA Final. I will have to take lots of coachings. This is the way I have to study. So you come up with the mindset, right? I will be appearing for May attempt or the November attempt. Now, as the environment changes, what happens? Suddenly the ICI comes with a notification that now the exams are not going to be in the May and November. The exams are going to be in the May, September and January. So we are going to conduct 3 times in a year. The exams are going to be conducted. Now, suddenly everything changes, right? And as a strategic leader, consider yourself to be the strategic leader of your own business, of your own preparation. You are the strategic leader, right? Now, you are challenged mentally that how you adapt your mindset to this change. This is what is there. He says as the business environment is dynamic, it keeps on changing. So it challenges the mindset. The frame of reference here means the mindset, right? It refers to the mindset of the strategic leader, that how to adapt to the complex changing environment, right? This is what is given. The managerial frame of reference is the set of assumptions, premises and accepted wisdom that bounds a manager's understanding of the company. Now you assumed that there are going to be 2 attempts, May attempt and November attempt, right? There was accepted the rules and policies that this is how you have to study for CA Intermediate, this is how you have to study for CA Foundation, and on that basis you have made the understanding of the whole course of this chartered accountancy, the industry in which it competes. Similarly, the manager frames the basic understanding of the company that okay, this is the industry in which we are operating and competing. These are the processes that we are taking. These are the products which are doing good for the company. The company is positioned at a good level at this particular point of time. And the core competencies that it exploits in the pursuit of strategic competitiveness. In other words, a manager's frame of reference is the foundation on which a manager's mindset is built. So it is the base on which the manager's mindset is built. And the changing environment challenges that mindset, that come here, you have to change your mindset, right? Because if a product is doing really good for the company right now, it might not be doing good for the company in the next few months, right? So he started with the company, strategic leader, the manager, he started in the company which was doing really good, and suddenly everything is going here and there, right? So the importance of the manager's frame of reference can be seen if we perceive those competitive battles are not between the companies or the product, but between the mindset or the managerial games. Now this is interesting. He says when we talk about competition, the competition is not about the company and the products. The competition is about the playing the mental games, right? In every sports, if you will see now, in cricket and everything, the major part of the sport is played mentally, that how you play mentally with the other team's game plan. And here also he says when you talk about the competition, it's about mentally playing with the competitor, that mentally if you are able to defeat your competitor mentally, then you will stay ahead in the competition, even if you are not a very good strategy implementer, right? Effective strategy leaders must be able to deal with the diverse and the cognitively complex competitive situations that are characteristic of the today's competitive landscape, that he should not go in with a fixed mindset, right? What this paragraph wants to say is that there should be no fixed mindset, right? And the changing competitive conditions will challenge the leader's mindset, will challenge the mindset, right? And it has to be flexible, Clear? Any doubts? So this is the paragraph. Frame of reference means here the mindset that he carries, that the strategic leader carries about the organization. The mindset can be related to the processes, to the products, to the competition that we are into, the industry that we deal into, that how we deal with the competitors. But these things can change, so it should not be a fixed mindset that he should be carrying, right? And the changes keep on challenging the mindset. A strategic leader have the several responsibilities. Just go through with these responsibilities. This part I'm leaving up to you people, because I know you will be able to understand it very easily, right? That is why I'm leaving this responsibility part to you, right? These 5-6 points, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H points, right? 7 points, I'm leading it to you people. The strategic leadership skills of the company's management represent the resources that affect the company performance, and these resources must be developed for the company's future benefit, right? So these skills are what? The strategic leadership skill is again a resource for the company. Like money is a resource, we talk about the human capital as the resource. This is what? This skill is a resource for the company. And if you are able to develop these leadership skills in the right way, it will prove to be really beneficial for the company, right? And Mr. Narayan Murthy, he was the leader of the Infosys. He developed these skills. He imparted these skills to the people who were following him to lead the Infosys, right? They were working, they were on his path. They are now managing the Infosys. That is why it is still one of the world's best company, right? So strategic leadership sets the firm's direction by developing and communicating a vision. This is the old line that we have already studied about, right? So this line, unlike the strategic leadership, the managerial leadership is generally concerned with the short-term day-to-day activities. That is what I told you at the very beginning. Leadership, two types: managerial leadership, strategic leadership, right? Now there are two approaches to leadership. One is the transformational and another one is the transactional leadership. What is the difference between the two? What is transformational leadership? Transformational leadership is the one who is always enthusiastic, right? The one who is always motivating the employees to do the job, who is always communicating with the employees in a more of informal ways, right? They are transforming the things, they are changing the employees, they are changing the mindset. He is communicating continuously with the employees. Okay, this is what we need to do. He is always on the toes, right? That is a transformational, that the leader uses the charisma and the enthusiasm to motivate people, to exert them for the good of the organization. He is always like, yeah, let's do it, let's do it. He is quite dynamic, right? The dynamism of the leader is going to work like wonders here. That is what that instills the motivation in the employees. Okay, if he's so motivated, we can also do it, right? The transformational leadership style may be appropriate in the turbulent environment, because during the turbulent environments, the motivation of the employees gets low. Yes, because already we are going through the turbulence, right, in the business, or during the maturity stage of the product, in the industries which are at the very start or the end of their life cycles, in the poorly performing organizations, when there is a need to inspire a company to embrace the major changes, right? So that is where that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of motivation is required for the employees. When the company is not performing good, or the company is into the very early stages or almost at the end of their life cycle. Right, so that is where this kind of transformational, where we are going to go for the huge changes, we are going to transform something, we are going to change, make the huge changes, right? So transformational leaders offer the excitement, vision, intellectual stimulation, and the personal satisfaction. They inspire the involvement in a mission, giving the followers a dream or a vision of a higher calling, so as to elicit more dramatic changes in the organizational performance. They will, what they will do, they will involve all the employees in the decision making and tell them, see, this is what we can do. If you people are with me, this is what we can do. Let's do it. Let's do it. Right? So this is how he is going to inspire people. Right? He will show that this is the mission, this is the vision. Let's all of us work together towards the vision, right? So that making the changes becomes comparatively easier if you involve people into making. Such a leadership motivates the followers to do more than originally affected to do by stretching their abilities and increasing their self-confidence, and promote innovation throughout the organization. Now it will when the leader is so enthusiastic, the leader is so dynamic, the people will obviously, the employees will feel that, okay, if the leader is so dynamic, why can't we? Let's do it, right? They will feel motivated, they will give out their best out, they will give something more than their abilities, they will try to give to the work to the best of their abilities and do the best for the organization, right? This is a kind of transformational leadership. Another one is transactional leadership. This is more of a formal leadership style, right? Formal leadership style, where you will set the goals, where you will formally tell them, okay, if you perform in such a way, we will give you the incentives, we will increase your pay. This is more of a formal structure, right? And this is mostly when you are already growing stage or the maturity stage, the organization, there is a stability in the organization. You do not need that kind of motivation. The employees are already working well, right? Everything is settled in the organization. So at that particular point of time, you are settled. You just interact in the formal ways, right? Focuses more on designing the systems and controlling the organization activities, and are more likely to be associated with improving the current situation. So we are like, we are already in a okay situation. Let's just try to improve whatever the improvements we can make in the current situation. Let's try to do that. Nothing, out of the way we need to do. So transactional leaders try to build on the existing culture and enhance the current practices. So he says, this leadership style says, we are already in a good situation, but still the scope of improvement is always there. So we will keep on improving the daily routines, the current practices, we will keep on improving, right? Transactional leadership uses the authority of the office to exchange rewards such as pay or status. So this leader will say, he will use his authority that, okay, if you are getting this done, if these practices need to be changed, so if you change it, we will reward you, we'll pay you extra, right? And that is there. So it is kind of a formal thing. It is not kind of that enthusiasm is required. There it was dynamism and the charisma that is working. Here the authority of the office is working because he is in an authoritarian position. He is in an authoritarian position. So he will say, okay, we need to get this done, so that if you are, if you get this done in the right way, we'll pay extra and we will give you the rewards. They prefer a more formalized approach to motivation, setting the clear goals with the explicit rewards or penalties for achievement or non-achievement, right? So it is a formal structure that clearly defines that this is the thing that needs to be done. If you do it, you will get the rewards. If you don't do it, you will get punished, right? So transactional leadership style may be appropriate in the static environment, in the mature industries, or in organizations that are performing well, where the too much changes are not required. So there, this transactional leadership style is absolutely brilliant. The style is better suited in persuading the people to work efficiently and run the operations smoothly. So here the major aim is that whatever the people work, whatever the work the people are doing, they should be able to do it efficiently, right? That is why we are setting that if you do it this work in so much of time, we will give you rewards, otherwise there will be punishments. Right? Here, it is not like you have to just pump the employees. In the transformational, you have to give the pump to the employees. Okay, this thing, we need to do it, we need to do it, we need to do it, let's do it. In the transactional, okay, we are doing this, this is the thing, this is our goal, please achieve it, we will reward you. If you don't achieve it, we will punish you. Right? So in the transformational and transactional, one very important point that you need to remember is that in case of transformational, it is during the turbulent times or the non-performing or the poor performance times that transformational leadership style can be used, and transactional can be used when there is a static environment, when the business is already mature and performing well. Right? This can be asked for the MCQ purpose. So with this, we are done with this topic of strategic leadership. I hope all of you have been able to understand and got the crux that what this strategic leadership talks about, and please remember this few things, that is definitely going to help you out, right? Okay, so we are left with two topics. In the next lecture, we'll be taking up the next topic, that is the strategic control, right? And then we have the last topic, that is strategic performance, that we will be taking up. Strategic performance measures, right? So strategic control we will be taking up in the next lecture, and we'll try to complete it in the next lecture itself, right? See you guys in the next lecture. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, keep studying, keep sharing. Thank you so much.